The first time Victoria Langford walked into La Belle Étoile, the entire restaurant froze as if someone had hit pause on the world. It was a Tuesday in late October, the kind of gray Manhattan afternoon that made the chandeliers inside look like captured sunlight. The hostess, Marisol, had been laughing with a regular when the doors swung open and Victoria stepped through, black coat dripping rain, the kind of woman who looked like she could buy the building with a single raised eyebrow. Everyone knew the face from Forbes covers and those viral clips of her eviscerating reporters. Victoria Langford, 38, net worth north of $12 billion, and if the tabloids were even half right, the loneliest person on the eastern seaboard. Marisol's smile died mid-sentence. Victoria's eyes swept the room like she was scanning for threats. "Reservation for one," she said, voice low and clipped, the accent-educated money sharpened into something lethal. "Langford." Marisol's fingers hesitated over the tablet. The computer showed the booking, but every server on the floor had already heard the stories. Last month at Le Bernardin, Victoria had sent back a $400 bottle of Bordeaux because it breathed wrong. At Per Se, she'd reduced a captain to tears over the temperature of the butter. Word traveled fast in the narrow world of New York fine dining. Victoria Langford tips 20% exactly, never more, never less, and she will make you cry before the entrecote arrives. Marisol forced the words out. "Of course, Ms. Langford." "Right this way." Victoria didn't move. "I requested table 12. By the window." Table 12 was occupied by a sweet old couple celebrating their 50th anniversary. Marisol opened her mouth, closed it, then watched in horror as the floor manager, Julian, appeared like a genie summoned by panic. "Ms. Langford," Julian began, palms already shining with nervous sweat, "we're so honored." "I'm not here for flattery," Victoria cut in. "I'm here for table 12. Move them." Julian's face cycled through every shade of red known to man. The old couple hadn't heard yet, they were holding hands across the white tablecloth, sharing a chocolate soufflé. Julian looked ready to cry himself. That was when he appeared. Table 14, tucked in the quieter corner near the kitchen doors, belonged to a single father and his 8-year-old daughter. The man, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing the kind of inexpensive but clean button-down that said he'd dressed up for the occasion, stood up so fast his chair scraped the marble like a gunshot. "Excuse me," he said, voice calm but carrying the kind of natural authority that made heads turn. "Did I just hear you ask them to kick an elderly couple out of their seats?" Every soul in the dining room inhaled at once. Victoria turned slowly. Her eyes were the pale gray of winter skies right before snow. "This is none of your concern." "Actually," the man said, stepping forward, "it is. My daughter and I are trying to have a nice dinner, and watching someone bully staff and old people kind of ruins the vibe." A ripple of gasps. Phones lifted, discreetly. The little girl, frizzy brown pigtails, gap-toothed smile, peeked out from behind her dad's leg. "Daddy, why is the lady so mad?" "Show me a bean," he murmured, but his eyes never left Victoria. Julian tried to intervene. "Sir, please, I can move you and your daughter to." "No," the man said simply. "We're fine where we are. Ms. Langford can have any other table. There are 6 empty ones right there." He gestured across the room without breaking eye contact with Victoria. Victoria's lips thinned. "Do you have any idea who I am?" "Yeah," he answered, unfazed. "You're the person making my kid's birthday dinner stressful." "Congratulations." Someone in the corner actually choked on their champagne. Victoria stared at him for a long moment, something flickering behind the ice in her eyes. Then, to everyone's shock, she laughed, short, sharp, more exhale than sound. "Fine," she said. "Give me table 9. Julian practically tripped over himself leading her away. The old couple never even knew what almost happened. The dining room slowly exhaled. Phones lowered. Conversation tiptoed back to life. At table 14, Mia tugged her dad's sleeve. "Daddy, you were so brave." He ruffled her hair and sat back down, but not before glancing once more toward table 9, where Victoria Langford sat alone beneath the chandelier, staring out at the rain as though it had personally offended her. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, Victoria came back. Same black coat, same storm cloud expression. This time she didn't ask for table 12. She walked straight to the hostess stand and said, "I'll wait for table 14. Marisol blinked. "It's currently occupied, Ms. Langford." "I can see that," Victoria replied. "I'll wait." The occupants of table 14 were a hedge fund trio celebrating a merger. They took one look at Victoria looming like a very expensive specter and suddenly remembered urgent emails. Within 5 minutes the table was empty, sanitized, and reset. Victoria sat down, ordered a bottle of the 2005 Chateau d'Yquem $1 $200 a glass and stared at the empty chair across from her for 20 solid minutes. Then she did it again the next week. And the next. The staff started calling it the Langford Watch. Every shift, someone was assigned to text the group chat the second her town car pulled up. They drew straws to avoid serving her. Tips be damned, mental health mattered more. But the single dad, his name, the staff learned, was Ethan Caldwell, only came once a month. He was a high school history teacher who'd lost his wife to leukemia 3 years earlier. Every month on the anniversary of her death, he brought Mia to La Belle Étoile because it had been his wife's favorite restaurant. They always ordered the same thing, French onion soup, steak frites medium rare, and the chocolate soufflé for two that they split 3 ways, 2 spoons for them, 1 imaginary for mommy. On the 3rd month Victoria staked out table 14, Ethan and Mia walked in at their usual time. Ethan stopped dead when he saw her. Victoria looked up from her phone, expression unreadable. "Mr. Caldwell," she said. It wasn't a question. Mia waved shyly. "Hi, scary lady." Ethan's mouth twitched. "Mia." Victoria's gaze dropped to the child, softened by a fraction. "Hello again, Mia." Ethan approached slowly. "Ma'am, that's our table." "I know," Victoria said. The dining room had gone mausoleum quiet again. Julian hovered nearby, wringing a napkin into origami despair. Ethan exhaled through his nose. "Look, I don't know what this is about, but we have a reservation." Victoria stood. For a moment everyone thought she was leaving. Instead, she pulled out the opposite chair. "Sit," she said. "Both of you." Ethan didn't move. "Please," Victoria added, and the word sounded foreign in her mouth, like she'd borrowed it from another language. Mia looked up at her dad with huge brown eyes. "Can we, Daddy? I'm hungry." Ethan hesitated another 5 seconds, long enough for the entire restaurant to age a year, then nodded once. They sat. Victoria signaled the sommelier without looking at the wine list. The 05 Yquem again. 3 glasses. She glanced at Mia. And a Shirley Temple with 2 extra cherries. Mia beamed. Ethan stared at Victoria like she'd grown a second head. "What is this?" "Dinner," Victoria replied. "No, I mean," he lowered his voice. "Why are you doing this?" Victoria's fingers tightened around the stem of her glass when it arrived. She didn't answer right away. Instead she watched Mia stir her grenadine into fizzy pink galaxies. Finally she spoke, so quietly Ethan had to lean in. "Because 3 months ago a stranger stood up to me when no one else in this city would. And I've spent every day since trying to figure out why it didn't make me angrier." Ethan sat back, stunned. Victoria continued, eyes on her wine. "People obey me. They fear me. They want things from me. No one has told me no since I was 23 years old." She gave a brittle laugh. "Do you know what that does to a person?" Ethan glanced at his daughter, who was happily unaware, drawing smiley faces in the condensation on her glass. "It makes monsters, I think," Victoria finished. The first course arrived, amuse-bouche of seared foie gras with quince. Mia wrinkled her nose. Victoria noticed and, without a word, asked the server to bring chicken fingers from the bar menu instead. The server nearly fainted. Conversation was halting at first. Ethan kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the cutting remark, the power play. It never came. Instead Victoria asked Mia about school. Mia babbled